Today's topic, our first 90 days when we onboard, particularly in an EA, but as in general, we follow a pretty standardized onboarding process, and there may be some unique nuances for an EA. This is what our onboarding doc looks like. It's broken out into 30, 60, 90. The first 30 days is about learning. And then after that, it's about implementing what they've learned. And then finally, the last 30 days, 60 to 90 days, is about optimizing what they've learned and implemented. Okay. A lot of agency owners, new owners, entrepreneurs, they think about, oh yeah, day one, week one, we're doing all this, make it better. Well, how can someone make it better if they don't even know you? They don't even know the culture. They don't even know your clients. They don't even know your systems and your processes. So you have to give it time, but it doesn't mean you have to stretch it out, and you have to have a plan. And this is basically the outline, for that of this plan. Um, so we break it down for the first 10 days, and then afterwards is weeks. Okay. So for the first day, for the onboarding, we're talking about the basic stuff, the HR stuff, the onboarding, NDAs, background check, employee agreements. So getting the bank info so we can pay them. Then for us, it's not applicable if you don't have a larger team, but in the future, you can do this. We assign them a buddy. So let's say if I'm their, let's say, their manager, their boss. Well, if they have other questions like, oh yeah, what should we, where should we go, or what should we say in this channel, right? And it's something that may be a little more embarrassing. They don't want their boss to know. That's where their peers come in. So that's why we assign a buddy. And also it helps with the buddy also learns on how to develop and train others too. So in our company culture, we're all about, cross training and teaching others. And so this also helps the person, the buddy themselves on coaching others. Another thing we talk about is, getting to know the team, our company culture, covering our mission, our vision, our core values, company policies, the really typical HR stuff, but then really talking about why we do what we do, and then about the company, the history of it, our structure. Like we have a staffing company, and then we also have a web design and development company. Just explaining in detail about that, and their chances are they're not going to remember everything, okay? And a lot of times you'll need to repeat yourself over and over and over again, okay? And that's fine. That's normal, by the way, right? I want you to set that as an expectation. You have to repeat yourself. I mean, think of it this way. When you're selling to a customer, you think the first time they see you on Instagram, on YouTube, you're gonna close a sale because they saw you once? They're gonna remember everything you do, all you offer? No, right? They talk about 7 hours of content, right? So or 11 touch points, right? As a sales. So it's no different in for your own employees. Why would you treat your own team members any differently? They're humans too. Uh, then we have our technical kind of setup. We give them access to, set them up an email account, calendar, project management. We use Slack, Zoom, Smart Suite is our project management tool, Google Drive, walk them through that. And then we have them answer these questions of like, what should I know about you? Why did you take this job? Short-term, long-term goals, and short and long-term professional goals, long-term income goals. And then we also have them take this is a little different, is we have them take a love language assessment. Okay. We want to know what their love language is. And then we'll discuss that. And then starting a new job, we have them watch this short video, what the 90-day plan from a Harvard professor, and have a bookmark all the important links. And then at the end of the day, so mind you, for all new hires, uh, I meet with the new hires twice a day for the first 10 days, twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon for the next 10 days. And then after that, I meet with them every day, maybe for the next 30, if not 60 days. Okay. For my EA, I meet with my EA every single day. The only reason why, even this week, I'm not meeting with her because she's on vacation. She's actually in Vietnam right now. So, so it's like, but normally I would talk to her every day. So, Ivan, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to interject the love language. Why do you want to know what love language is?
Yeah.
Like,
So, for example, if their love language is words of affirmation, right? For those that don't know, uh, let's see. I'm trying to find all all the love languages. There's basically five, right? There's words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, acts of service. All right. So with these love, and if you haven't taken this test, I highly recommend taking it and then having your spouse or girlfriend, significant other take it too. Okay. That way, you know what is important to them. So yeah, it's in our area, it's not about like the romantic relationship. It's about, love is still love, right? It's getting to know the individual and what motivates them, what's important to them. So if I know that their love language is words of affirmation, then whenever they do something well, it's hard for me to do naturally, but I have to go work out of myself and go out of the way and say, "Hey, Ivan, I love what how you responded to the customer yesterday. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Awesome job, Ivan." You see, words of affirmation. Okay.
right.
Uh,
So it's mostly to figure out the level of compassion and ability to have some soft skills, right?
well, it helps with motivation, right? It shows that you care as their boss, as their leader, right? You actually give a shit, right? So I don't try to treat my team members like a number, and no one ever says, "Oh yeah, I treat my people like robots," right? No one says that, but it's your actions that will speak louder. So what do you do to not do that? And you have to get to know the person, right? And the fastest way to get to know the person is to understand what their love language is. That's why we have the individual take that, and we share our own too. Like I share what my love language is, right? Mine is acts of service, right? Like, hey, do the things. You don't have to say anything. Just do it. Help me out. Make my life easier. That's how I feel loved. You see? So then they also know you don't have to give me fancy words. You don't have to tell me how awesome I am. All right. Just help me out. So this is what I ask every single day for the next 10 days. Okay. And remember what I said earlier? I repeat myself a lot because there's also a purpose to this. So these are the questions I ask. How did your first day go? Was it what you expected? How does it compare to your previous companies you worked at? What did you like? What do you think we could improve on? How can we help you do your best work? So, what do you think their first day, how they answer these questions? What do you think the type of response that we get? What do you think? What do you think the responses are like?
I was gonna guess. I would bet it'd be, oh, I love it. It's great. It's a little different than I expected. Um, and I don't really know what you could improve on yet because it's my first day, but it seems like it's going well. But I do have a question. Where can I find blank?
Yeah, exactly. Usually they're like 1 to 2 word answers, right? Like, oh, it's cool. It's great. I love it here. Thank you. It's like they're very generic, right? Um, that's how it plays out every single, the first like maybe first 4 days. But by the fifth day, by the 10th day, right? They know it's coming, right? They know is Dave gonna ask these questions again, right? And then at that point, like, yeah, you know what? I was talking to so and so today, and with our systems, at my previous job, we didn't do that, or we did that, and I think this will really help, right? Now they're starting to open up because the first day, I mean, they're anxious, they're stressed, they're scared sometimes. They're like, oh man, I want to leave a good impression. I don't want to say the wrong things, right? So there's a lot, they're uncomfortable. But hopefully, by meeting with this individual twice a day for the next 10 days, you've built rapport, you've built trust, right? And then that's when we can get real shit done. But you have to let the individual know it's okay. You can ask them questions. You have to set the stage, right? And also let the individual know, like, hey, I'm asking these questions every single day. Don't be afraid of, and I understand that you may not have a lot of feedback, but I truly want to hear what your thoughts are. You see? So I'm constantly kind of reframing, setting the stage, and really getting to know the person. Okay. So that's day one. All right. Day two, more introductions, maybe to the rest of the team. Sometimes we do like this little like green light, red light, green light exercise, and then we review the love language assessment that was completed on day one. And then we we have them watch this video on what does it feel like to start a new job and how to succeed. So in this little video, it basically talks about, it's okay to feel like you don't know what you're doing, right? And it's okay, and there's ups and downs, but to focus on progress. So I focus a lot on, especially in the beginning, mindset and in getting the individual really comfortable in their environment, and also potentially deprogramming the individual from the previous like PTSD that they've experienced. Imagine carrying that baggage to this new environment, and they're thinking you, the new boss, is like that. Oh man, I'm never going to satisfy you, right? You're never going to be happy. So you need to break down the barriers, deprogram, get rid of that PTSD, and say, hey, it's better here, right? That we don't work like that. Okay. So it's part of you as a leader to figure that out. I know it's hard, but that's why it takes time to build that. Okay, but you is to develop. And in this particular case, your previous boss, why they were bad is because they didn't set up expectations very clearly. They did not define what was good, what was good enough. Or maybe they're like Asian parents, you're never good enough, right? It's like, oh, A minus is an Asian F,
Yeah.
right? Because like
Yeah.
the bar just keeps going higher and higher and higher. You never reach the bar, right? And that is stressful too. Uh, so emails. So that's another thing that we work on. We get them set up on their emails. We follow a framework, a methodology called Inbox Zero. If you've never heard of it, highly recommend it. Google it. Inbox Zero clears up your inbox constantly. You're always on top of it, and your EA would apply Inbox Zero techniques on your very own inbox. Okay, all my emails are sorted to follow up, read, or waiting, okay, or archived. Okay, so it's always in one of these four buckets, and my inbox is constantly getting zeroed out, hence the word inbox zero. Calendar. So we have our calendar and how to set it up. We have our SOPs for that. We have a short video on like pretty much like stop wasting your time. We do a lot of time blocking, so we block off my calendar. Like I'll show you my calendar right now. My calendar is like this. It's all like a rainbow. I color coded, so that's what my EA would do for me is organize like orange is external, purple is internal meetings, yellow is family, blue is the tasks I need to do. Right? So it's like all color coded. And another side note, the cool thing about this is you can see insights. If you call it, this is in particular for Google Calendar, I can see that I'm spending 6.5 hours this week on internal meetings, 9.5 hours on external, 31.8 hours on family. You see? So when you start color coding and you start tracking your time, you know where your time is spent. Okay? And your EA can help you with that. So the calendar, and then virtual meetings, etiquette, time off requests. We play a little shortcut key game. It's just really literally a shortcut key game where like, oh, what's the find search, right? It's Command F, right? Paste without formatting. I think, so it's like how fast can you go through these keys without basically memorizing the shortcut keys. It's a pretty fun game, but we do it remote. Because our work is all remote, we need to memorize a lot of the shortcut keys to speed things up. It's one of those little fun things that we do. And then again, same questions at the end of the day, repeat. Okay. Day 3, we talk about AI, our project management tool, and then we also take the personality test. And so I'm gonna, everyone knows ChatGPT. You have your own project management system. I'm gonna skip that. Now, the personality test, this is another thing I highly recommend. This does not cost any money too. Okay, that's another benefit. You should take it. And you should also have your spouse take it. Okay, or your significant other take it. And then you can actually compare your personalities together, and then the areas that are different, and you'll notice that the difference is the area of contention. Usually the arguments that you may have or disagreements that you have is the area, because it will show in this test of differences in personality. So then you as a leader, and you recognize that, right? And say, all right, well, yeah, of course, we're different. Of course, we're going to argue because it's our personalities that's different. It's not that we're a bad person, but we need to recognize and respect that. So highly recommend that, big5-test.com. So we talk about updating and sending a daily digest. So this is something unique to our company. We sent out essentially like a newsletter internally for all of our team members because we have different departments, right? We have 2 different organizations, but also we have like on our website, we have our production team, we have our customer success team, and then we have our CSMs, our customer success managers, and then on the recruitment side, we have a different department. So every single day, every department is doing their thing, and there's a lot of moving things. So at the end of the day, everyone puts in the notes, and the EA helps organize that newsletter and would send it out at the end of the day. So that way, everyone in the organization knows what's happening in the other side of the organization in a whole different division. Okay. Currently, we have 16 people in our organization. Just kind of give you an idea. Okay. So if you have only like, let's say 4 or 5, you don't really need this. You're still pretty small, but once you get like to 10 plus, then and you have multiple divisions, different areas, then this is one of the things I would suggest. Day 4, we're talking about how to interact with clients, so understanding culture, US culture, because that's where our clients are at, right? And our clients' clients are at. So it's understanding training on etiquette, understanding the geography and demographics, regulatory and compliance training, security. So this is all the standard boilerplate stuff a typical HR department would go over. Learn how to introduce yourself, in a meeting. I've had times where I heard someone and they would we would be in a call just like this. And in our Zoom, we have a Zoom running and we have breakout rooms. Okay. Our new hire, we're talking like you and I are talking, and a new hire would come in like a freaking ninja. All right. Like they don't say anything. They don't have their webcam turned on, nothing. Right. And then later on, and then we're talking, and I notice it. And then later on, I would ask them privately. I was like, "When you walk into a room, like a physical room with people talking, what do you do before you walk in?" Right? Oh, I would knock. All right. And then when you walk in, what do you do? Oh, I would say hi. I would say hi to the people that, I introduce myself. I'm here. Oh, okay. Well, being on Zoom in a breakout room, jumping into a call, it's the same scenario. It's just, yeah, virtually. So this is another like etiquette kind of thing and training. So understand that you're hiring people all walks of life. I don't care if they're from the US, from the Philippines, from Mars, right? They're human beings. And sometimes they just don't have the etiquette training. And so these are some of the things that we implement, we discuss, we make sure it's on our onboarding to touch on, so it's not a surprise. And a worst thing that could happen is them doing it to a customer or them doing it to their peers, and their peers don't say anything, and now their peers like, man, that new hire Dave that you brought on, they're terrible. Like, why are they terrible? They just like they're so rude. They don't even know that they're rude. That's the scary thing. Right? So that's another thing that we put in. Meeting notes. We have a very unique structure of our meeting notes. How meeting notes are created. So this is basically our SOP and what that looks like. And then this is example of what our meeting notes that's client facing. All my EA before every single call would have this already created and set up. So it's like, let's just say, hello, Pamela, nice meeting you today. Thank you for your time per our conversation. And during the call, my EA is filling this out, okay? And then after the call, copy, paste, send, okay? She's doing all that for me. I don't have to do any of that. But right now, if you're working by yourself, you have to do all of this. And I don't even know how organized your emails are. Your email after meeting report. Do you even send out meeting notes afterwards? Right? The meeting notes have saved my ass multiple times. Right? Like I'm doing so many things, I forget. Like, oh yeah, what did I say? Or what I talk about with Pamela like 3 weeks ago. Well, let me go to my Gmail and check it out. Right? Oh yeah, and then another thing my EA would help me with is like, let's say after the call or during the call, I would say, hey, can I follow up with you a week from now? Sure, no problem. My EA would follow up from the email meeting notes. I would reply like, hey, this, because now there's already in the notes, like, hey, I know you were interested in hiring someone in the Philippines. Would you like to move forward now? You see, my EA is doing all that work for me, right? I don't have to do this like responses and follow-ups manually myself. But everyone in the company knows how to set up meeting notes, right? So that's but not just the EA, but the EA creates the meeting notes a lot. Another thing would be Brian Tracy, art of effective communication. I harp on that a lot. Being able to communicate effectively. A lot of new hires or inexperienced individuals, they directly, when I ask someone, oh, how's the project going? They go right into the details. Well, I'm working on this, I'm working on that. No, stop. Red, yellow, or green, right? Oh, it's green. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for your time. It's red. Okay, why is it red? Right? Just like a traffic light. So just effective communication. Let's cut to the chase, right? How many times have you been frustrated with a contractor, with someone you've hired, or even a client, right? Like, oh my God, they're just rambling on and on and on. I mean, I ramble a lot, but they just like get to the point. I want to know what can I do to solve this problem, right? So there's that.
I have a
And then
question.
yes, go ahead.
Kind of like going back to the EA part, like so are they supposed to like be in your meeting and then when you wrap up, like they're like, oh, like we'll follow up like a week from now? Are they
Yes.
supposed to be in the meeting
Yeah,
or
my EA follows me everywhere I go.
oh,
So my EA
it's like a full-time employee pretty much.
yeah, my EA, yeah, I have 15 full-time employees. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they're my full-time employee. So they follow me wherever I go. When I'm in a meeting, I can have a like full engagement with the individual, right, that I'm talking to. I'm not distracted typing away, trying to like look at notes. Sometimes if I need to pull in data, like for example, sometimes a question might be, oh, how much does it, what's the pay range for an EA? Well, for a senior EA, I might not have that data, but I would say, hey, Sig, my EA, we'll get that for me. And then she's sending me the message as I'm still continuing the conversation with the individual.
Mhm.
You see? like my flow, right? The conversation keeps going. There's not ever really an awkward silence. Everything's moving forward. Okay, I hate delays. I hate like dragging my feet. I hate that, awkward silence. I want to make sure we maximize our time. We don't waste our time.
Mm.
Okay. Um, so does that help answer your question? Any other yay questions?
I think that's
Okay,
good right now.
that's good. Okay. Um, so role specific. Now we're focused on shadowing. So in this case, EA would pretty much, if there's another EA already, then they would shadow the EA. If it's, let's say, a video editor role, they would shadow the video editor, or if they're a CSM, they're shadowing the CSM and what they're doing day to day to day. Okay. And even during this time, usually day 4, day 5, that's when I start assigning small little bits of tasks. It might be a little research. It might be, a fun little activity like, hey, I need you to talk to everyone in the company to gather, I don't know, their headshots, photos or something. Something real simple, really light, and get the individual to get involved, with a purpose, with everyone in the organization or with the client. So again, more, I think this is, I think this is an accidental repeat. So yeah, ignore that. But like answering phone calls, how to answer a phone call, how to call a client. This is all written down. We do like our John Maxwell here. If anyone has ever read his books, really good. 21 Laws of Leadership. 21 Laws of, yeah. So I highly recommend it if you haven't read the book. This link is literally an audiobook of it. So we have the individual go through that. It's quite long. It's 9 hours and 30 minutes long. So we don't expect the individual to finish it in one day. We say, all right, take this and just listen to it like 30 minutes a day. That's it, and until you finish. And then afterwards, we ask that they put together notes for themselves and share what their thoughts are. What did they learn? How does it apply to their life? Right. So another thing that I look at as myself as this is like a mentor. So the individuals that I bring on, I look at it as I'm here to mentor you for your success in your career, and so you can do your best work. But also, I also think about if anything were to happen in our organization, okay? Let's say, we close shop. I want to feel very, very confident that you're able to find another opportunity very easily because of the skills and training and the mindset that you have by going through this. We, want to be a type of organization when others organizations are trying to employ you, they see, let's say, Design Source Media in their resume. They're like, oh, wow, you already work there. You're good to go. It's like almost like seeing someone like, oh yeah, well, you worked at Apple, you worked at Google, right? Oh wow, if you pass that, then you have no, you'll most definitely pass here, no problems here, right? So our onboarding is really intense. I've had people quit on the first day. I've had people quit in the first week, and usually the ones that do stay, I mean, I'm still very tough on them, but the ones that do survive the training, the onboarding, become very, very successful and also become more than just an EA for me. I've had, current team members start off as an EA, became a project manager or a customer success manager. My current one is the director of ops. She's been with me for 8 years, over 8 years now. So it's all about this foundation. You get what you put in. So you put in the time, you invest in the individual will do the same. Okay. Um, So in this particular case, this is unique to what my EA does for me. So for example, these Friday sessions, these Friday training, I don't have a presentation slide deck today, but normally she would create a slide deck for me. So that's one of the things that she would do, and this is kind of like an SOP on how to do that. And then filling out the form to schedule out the announcements to let the members know, hey, Friday session, 8:30 in the morning Pacific time. A little video on focus. We follow a YouTuber called Dr. K. He's a really cool psychologist about focus and mindset. Now we go into more technicals like how to use Google Maps. And then we use Go High Level. So another crash course on using Go High Level. And then same thing, end of the day meeting. So I'm gonna kind of quickly go through the rest since we're kind of running short on time. So more role specific stuff, project management stuff. We talk about, we have a unique thing called budget requests. If someone wants something, let's say I need a new laptop, I need a new computer, a new monitor. There's a conference, a workshop I want to attend to, and it, costs X amount. Okay, no problem. Fill out a budget request form. You'll either get approved or denied, or we might ask additional questions on like, okay, what does it make sense, right? And so when they fill that out, and then we go through that process. So I never ever want someone to feel like, oh man, I really need this new laptop to do my work, but they're afraid of saying that. So, so we talked that. How about that? How to submit billable work, which is not really too applicable for the EA, but in rare cases that might be the case to help out another team member. Complete the Smart Suite courses. There's a certification process too, and this later on, like right here. So we want to get our EA certified in the project management tool that we use. And everyone in the company is actually certified. Okay, Melissa, do you provide your employees with their computers, etc., even when it's an online job? Yes, they are employees, not contractors. That's a big difference. It's like if you worked at a company, W-2, you're a W-2. Do you expect them to do they ask you to bring your own laptop, bring your own computer? When you're, let's say, working at IBM, right? Or some, a tech company or even a company at all, right? Can you imagine like, oh yeah, you're working at like, I don't know, at McDonald's, you got to bring a cash register to work because you're a cashier. That's a little ridiculous, right? But we get mixed up because we're so used to the agency model as a contractor that we assume expect our hires to have their own equipment, which is, that's fine in the beginning, usually the first 3 months, but then afterwards, then I would say, or after 3 months, our standard issue is a MacBook Air. That's our standard issue for everyone in the organization after 3 months, after they pass their trial period. And then some individuals may need something more advanced, like a MacBook Pro, right? More powerful. But in general, it's a MacBook Air. I purchased monitors and keyboards and mouse and webcams and mics and whatnot. So then your next question is, so if they're in the Philippines, how does that work? So for us, we have an entity set up in the Philippines. We have a team. So when there's equipment that's purchased, we purchase it on our account and we ship it to their location. We track the equipment, and if they leave, we would either collect it back and hold on to it for their next hire, or we sell on the marketplace. And if we're working with an agency client, that credit would go to their account, and we would apply it to their account. So let's see. And Pamela said, how can you trust someone new to get the job done, especially when you're too busy to keep track of tasks, like following up with prospects from weeks ago? Yeah, so you're
definitely kind of going back with the things that we talked about.
Yeah, so I mean, you pretty much dug yourself pretty deep there, right? If you're already like, trying to keep up with tasks. Now, trust is one of those things where, it goes both ways, right? They have to trust you, and in order for you also for for you to trust them. So it goes both ways. So I wouldn't say like in the very beginning for an EA, like I wouldn't give them my credit card information, okay, in the beginning. But my EA does have my credit card information. She could go on a shopping spree right now if she wanted to, okay? But thankfully, I mean, there's fraud protection and everything else on the credit card, so I'm not too worried. But there's also a lot of confidential information, right? She has my access to my emails. So in the very thing is like, number one, if you can't trust the person, why are they working for you? Okay. And in the beginning, there's little things that you assign and you see how they respond, right? You assign a little bit of work, or even during the conversations, how transparent are they? If it might be because they're just anxious, they're scared, right? Yeah, so they're not going to be as transparent. But over time, hopefully you earn their trust and they trust you, and you trust, and then you'll start to trust them, and you can give them bigger and bigger responsibilities. And if they don't F it up, right, then it's it's a win-win, right? And then you continue to give them more responsibilities. Like I'll give you an idea. Like I have my own team members share with me like things like, oh yeah, I'm really thinking about working at this new place, right? It's like, okay, great. How can I help you? It sucks that you want to leave, right? But they trust me enough to share that with me because they know that I'm not going to screw them over. I'm not going to say, oh, well, if you're already thinking about leaving, well, let me try to plan your exit right now, right? They know I'm not going to F them over like that. So, but I actually listen to them and say, all right, well, what makes it attractive? I actually put myself in their shoes. Like, okay, well, have you considered these points, right? Because all I ask from my hires, if they want to leave, right, they can leave anytime, right? If they're not happy, they can leave. But all I ask is, please don't leave with chaos and there's crap everywhere, right? Help me transition, right? Have someone fill in for this role, right? So that way there can be a win-win. Right. So that's another thing too. Ivan, you have a question?
So the question is a slightly different angle. It's about stuff that we talked about last week. So you said that you're the only one who's in the US and everybody else is in what country?
Philippines.
Philippines, right? Okay. So I was discussing this with my wife today, who runs the business with me, and we're talking about like, okay, in connection to getting full-time employees, and like you mentioned, at some point it's necessary because you just want to push your business further and faster because of certain tasks that you can't really rely with on contractors, and it's a lot better to do it through full-time employees.
Yeah.
But I was thinking last week you mentioned that cost-wise, let's say executive assistant is about 1,500. You said.
Yep.
In
$1,500 a month.
In the US, it would be $5,000. So we were looking at different costs for different countries. We are in Spain,
Okay.
so I was thinking comparing Asia and different European countries, and then it got me thinking. How do you deal with like different employment laws? Is that the reason why you have all of them in Philippines, or that if you had one person in Philippines, another person, let's say in Poland, then you would have to follow different employment laws and employ different accountants in all of those countries to deal with their wages, etc., which obviously incurs extra cost.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're correct. One of the reasons why I chose not because of all these complexities, right? It's a small part of it. The main part is that I really do like the culture and the work ethics and the environment the Philippines as a country brings. Okay, of all the Asian compared to all the Asian countries, like ironically enough, I'm Chinese. I'm not even Filipino. Okay, you would think I'm Filipino. But in the Philippines, that's why I chose and to grow the team in the Philippines. Another reason is it's much easier to have a team all within one company, like culture in a country, because the nuances is much easier compared to like we have different individuals in all parts of the world, which eventually I do plan to do. Like maybe someday I want to build up maybe a team in South Africa, okay, or South America. So like these things, but that's down the line. So yeah, you're partially correct. As a factor is that labor laws are different in all countries. And some are very tough, some are just weird or weird to us as Americans, right? But maybe normal in Spain. So it's like different. And so we have to spend a lot of time. Yeah, we have lawyers and HR professionals that we brought on, and we have HR tools to manage all of those benefits. And if we had one person in like different countries, and another person, another one, it will incur a lot of more expenses and really time and headaches, right? Because I don't want to deal with another government, right? Like, oh yeah, you didn't pay your taxes and now your employee there is in trouble, right? Like, oh shit, right? Now I got to fix all that, right? Because I feel really responsible for that. I am responsible for that.
Yeah. So basically, if the cost difference isn't that big, then it's probably not even worth exploring like extreme options because you have all the other expenses that would go with it, right?
Correct. Yeah. If you want to hire talent in different parts, let's say you want to hire someone in Ukraine, they're better off as a contractor. Okay. Unless you want to build a team there, right? So think of it this way: if you plan on building a team that are greater than 10 people, then start hiring full time in that country. But if you're like, hey, I'm not sure, I just want to hire one person, maybe just hire a contractor, right? If you don't want to invest, in scale. Another thing we do, this is day 10, is the brain type. It's kind of like how they learn and how they think. I wish I knew and learned about this when I was in college. Just like there's like Kasune, Tora, and Kuma, and what kind of like what this brain type like exercise does is like, are you wind, fire, or water? Kind of like how you think, and they share their results of what they are. Okay. Let's see. And then we share ongoing education. Like I give them access to my full Audible account, my Kindle account, Skillshare, YouTube, Facebook groups, one online and in-person workshops. I value education a lot. Okay, I didn't actually care as much in college, but now it's like I see the huge value in it. I would much rather our team be educated and implement tools and improve our systems rather than hiring more people. Okay. We only hire people when we really have no choice, when we have so much volume and we've optimized our systems as much as we can. And we're still continually improving our systems. So whenever a team member says, oh, hey, there's a book I want to read, or there's a conference or a workshop I want to join, sure, let me know how much it costs. Okay, cool. Approved. I'll cover lunch and dinner, right? Have fun. Just let me know and please share with the rest of the team what you've learned. So that's another thing we do. We deep dive in how to master anything fast. There's another exercise here, a video here, and in this case, this is more of particularly for the EA on scripting YouTube videos, how to make YouTube videos with Ali Abdal, and then feedback adjustment. So that's the first 4 weeks. Okay. Okay. So a question from Pamela. I want to eventually hire in-person staff, but for now my budget is limited. Would you recommend hiring remote workers from other countries and transitioning to local work hires later as the business grows? My question would be, why would you want to transition to local hires in the first place, right? If you hire someone, let's say in another country, and they're a rock star, they know everything about you, about your clients, they're kicking ass. Why would you fire them? Why would you transition out? Right?
Or like you want to have like a studio like here in like San Diego, like over time, I guess. But you've already like worked with this person for like a year or two, and they know like everything about you and everything, and so
Okay.
just kind of
So literally at that point, your business model changed. Your business model is changing. Okay. It's not even so much about hiring. Now you need to plan out, this is your current business model and you want to change your business model. So what is your future business model and how does that align with the talent that you're bringing on now? So if the talent that you're bringing on now, that that would help you in your new business model, then I would say, yeah, go ahead and hire. And I would say I would recommend to keep that individual, right? But if you know that in a year or two, your model is going to change, and you're going to have a studio, and your whole offering is going to change, everything's different, focus is different, then I wouldn't waste too much of your time hiring outside and focus more locally. Okay. Because the band-aid that you're gonna have to rip off, it wouldn't be like a band-aid, it would be like a duct tape. Okay. It would be really tough. It would be really painful because you've built up this individual or this, maybe a few team members remotely, and now you're starting a new business, and now you're hiring local, which is about 4 times more expensive. So now you have to retrain this new group of people, fire the other people, and then take on hope that you have enough revenue to cover all of this, because at a certain point you're paying double, right? You're hiring both teams at once, maybe for a month or two, if not 3 months. You're gonna hate your life, right? So I just kind of give you kind of like food for thought here, right? If you're going to change your business model, plan it now and think about the type of hire. And also, if you can't even tell someone, oh yeah, I'm here to hire you for the long run, but in reality you're going to be lying to them anyways, because in the long run you're going to be bringing on local team members because of the studio situation, but your business model will change.
Like for example, like I'm in San Diego, and I'm sure like costs are pretty high here and stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. I was
recommend.
just there the other day, last month, right, with the agency you meet up. Your gas prices are $5. It's like $3 here a gallon. So yeah, it's insane. San Diego, California in general. But I digress.
Yeah.
So, so
So you would recommend just like raising prices like for like your packages and everything, or what do you mainly recommend?
I mean, that's a loaded question. I don't know enough about your business to give you that recommendation, right? So that is one option, right? But I would have to ask, why do you even want to start a studio? Is that
I mean, personally, I like the community and the culture and just having, like motivating each other in that type of sense. But I guess also,
Can you
I don't
do
know.
that without owning your own studio or having a studio? Or can you rent and share space with another video agency that has a studio already, right? There's other options here. Could you, for local hire only, could you work with other talents and partner up with another video agency that have local talent already, so you don't have to rebuild and still keep your remote team and run lean? You want to run lean, okay? Don't get so much bloat, right? So yeah, it's not about creating the biggest team. You want to create a team that's stable, so you don't have to be in the day to day. That's my main objective. Like I have personally, I have 3 young kids. Okay, so I want to spend more time with my kids, and in order to do that, I need a team so I can spend more time with my family. So that's something to think about. So priorities, but also 2 years from now, 5 years from now, your priorities may shift too. So I prefer to run lean and very flexible, very agile.
Gotcha.
Hope that helps.
Thank you. Yes.
So high overview, next 60 days, implement. We focused on taking initiative, building relationships in here. And then the next 90 days is process improvement. Now they've learned all of this and they've started implementing it. Now I would ask the individual, how do you think we can optimize what we've been doing, what you've been doing? Right? Anything we can strategically, what makes sense? Maybe we need to work on a new system or a new process. What can we build together? And then finally, after the 90 days, is this continuous improvement. So that right there is our 90-day onboarding. What do you guys think?
Very loaded, a lot of information, but wow, that's That's amazing. I mean, I feel like a lot of businesses should apply this. I've never seen a business like have all of this. This is really cool to see.
Thank you. Thank you. It only took us 13 years, right, to put this together.
You get access to that document?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that way you don't have to wait 13 years, right? You can just take this,
Exactly.
modify it, make adjustments, right? I mean, this is just one part of the whole equation, right? So when you're ready to bring on talent, there's the modules at Agency U. If you want to work with us, you can work with us on that. We on like finding talent for you. So there's other parts, and then finally, once you have them onboarded or hired, then this is where the onboarding document makes the most sense.
What is in your experience the best way of finding talent? On maybe some adverts that you're posting, or are they freelancers that you worked with for certain period, or how does it compare?
The
The
absolute best, right?
Yeah.
Referral from my own employees. Absolute
Right.
best.
Okay.
Number one. Number two would be having a really stringent, like really good recruitment process. That would be number two, right? Because you can't just uh, rely on your own employees referring down, because there's certain roles they don't know anyone, right? So you can't just depend on that. But having a really good recruitment process, so you can filtering, so you can hire the right talent.
Right. Okay. And what do you use? Have you got like a questionnaire, or do you do a psychometric testing, or how do you qualify them once you
Yeah,
get those leads?
yeah. So we've done actually a whole separate session on this alone, but I'll give you a really high overview. We create the role blueprint, and then we create the job post, and then they apply in a form. They share, they share their resume, and then we look at all of that. Um, Then we have them take an assessment. An assessment is usually about 7 questions, a mixture of technical and soft skills. They're recording themselves on some of the questions, so we can see how good their communication skills are, or if they're just like staring at a screen trying to read an answer. So it's just like seeing how they respond. And if they pass that, then we take them through 2 to 3 rounds of interviews. And then depending on the role, so for example, as the video editor, we would have a paid test for the video editor. If it's even like, let's say a social media manager, we may have a small little test for them too. So depending on the role, there may be a paid test. And then once they're hired, they're on like a 3-month trial. So if they're not a good fit in the first week, we would let them go. All right. Well, anyways, thank you everyone for being here, and have a wonderful weekend. And if you have any questions, future questions, DM me. If there's any topics related to like talent, team building, talent acquisition, feel free, reach out, ask me. Happy to help.